Hey guys, I'm outside, so forgive any noises and forgive the noises of neighbors and of course birds. But I ended up getting a new toy that I wanted to do a review on. I'm sure you guys remember my Glock field knife. This thing is a beast. I love its design. You know, it's definitely developed for fighting. It's also a bayonet. I plugged it up with epoxy just to keep water from getting down in there because I lost the plug. It's not like I have anything to affix it to. And of course, these made in Austria and are, I think they are still issued, I'm not sure though, to different European militaries. So that is a military knife through and through. This is a, let's see, Bundeswehr MI220. Amazon has it as 220 or MI220 because apparently they don't want to try and pronounce that name. But this one obviously didn't have the saw back. I do believe it's like 3/4 tang or something like that. So this is all plastic here. So I guess it would probably be more akin to a Mora, I don't know. But and despite the name, it's made by our friends in the East. So I want to see how these two compare because, well, one's obviously a knockoff. I shaved that little tab down so I didn't have to pull as hard to get those damn things out. But they look almost identical, except this looks like an older style because the first Glocks didn't have the root saw on the back, which I find kind of redundant anyway. But of course, I don't rely on them as much as somebody in the field does. One major advantage that this has is that it is stainless as opposed to carbon. I'm going more and more towards stainless as every time I go out it rains like crazy and I'm tired of upkeep on knives. However, something I gotta say is this thing went through a week of rain and what little rust there was after sharpening is gone. And that poor tip, I dropped it. But even after hitting directly on the pavement, that's still a good tip. Now, one thing that I can say is that this one's definitely lighter. And of course, you don't have the bracket and everything in the back, and it's not full tang. As I understand, this blade and everything behind it is all one piece of metal. So this has obviously got quite a bit of steel missing from it. About that much. Who knows what all's in the past 2 inches of this thing. The handle is thicker. You can't really, I guess you can really see it, but yeah, the handle's thicker, so it feels much better in the hand, at least for my hands. But let's do some tests. Alright, here we have the Mora Companion Spark. One thing I love about this knife, and hate, is that that's in the bottom. So, they give you a decent rod. So let's see. Alright, this has never been used to spark a rod before. I just got it out of the case a couple days ago, so might be some paint to get in the way. There we go. Finally get enough leverage on it. So, get some of that paint off there and get some leverage behind it. Obviously, carbon steel is more conductive at this. Actually, there used to be a commonly held belief that you had to have a carbon steel knife to spark a ferro rod. However, that is not. And it sparks it every time. So, anyway, they both can spark a rod. You just want to get this one a little less painted, and then you should be golden. I'm still kind of curious. Oh well, as try as I might, I even tried running that across some cement. So maybe taking a file to this in a certain area will work just fine, but being stainless, I think that'd be a good idea. So obviously the Glock knife is superior in most of the ways. Hold on. Alright, here's where you're going to hear all the fat man grunts. Let's see how well they baton. This being a field knife, you would expect would probably be the most superior one. Oh, nice knot too. Cool. So, it got through. Doesn't look like there's any marks on the blade. The Chinese German knockoff. Let's see what we got going on here. That big old honking place here. Let's give it a little more on each side just to drive home the fact. Now see, one thing is that smooth edge gives you a really good batoning room. I don't know if it just didn't intersect with that knot or what, but it I'd say that was a good driver. Yeah, sorry. Hopefully I got the Glock in the shot. And check out the paint though. The paint on this bad boy isn't as durable as the Glock. Of course, the Glock is kind of a necessity to have paint. This one just makes it look cool. Anyway, these both look like they'd be great for, yeah, definitely going to have to do something about that edge. It's not as sharp as it should be, but it still came pretty darn sharp. Not hair shaven sharp, but pretty close. But I want to check this thing out for viability as a camping knife, which means, can it process food? Well, I honestly don't have anything to process. I usually process them before I put away my groceries. So, what's the other dire need you will need a camping knife for? This is some good stuff. And of course, the Glock is like a champ. So anyway, and being military, you'd think that that would make it perfect for opening bottles, because there was a there's an Israeli rifle that they literally had to put a pop bottle opener into, because the soldiers were bending their feed lips trying to open up the bottles. So yeah, they incorporated it into their service rifle. So why not the knife? Anyway, that's the Glock field knife compared to the MI220, the Bundeswehr this thing. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Hopefully I'll have a lot more content. Bye.